Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, depending when I see you today. Today we are going to finish the topic of asexual reproduction by adding 3 more ways that organisms on our planet reproduce asexually. Yesterday we talked about fragmentation and binary fission. Today we are going to add, as I said, 3 more on the opposite page. So the first one we're going to add is budding. So a bud is something that grows on another organism. And this can be a plant or animal. Something that starts to grow out of it is usually considered a bud, like a flower bud. Same thing. So what happens in a bud is when it buds, really what you're making is a clone, a new individual. It can grow on the body of the parent organism, and then it's just going to fall off when it matures. When it's ready to be on its own, it's going to drop off and go on and live its best life. So let me see if I can get yeast going here. Oh, shows me a lot of them. Let's look at this one. Not what I had planned, but
Yeast. Yeast is a unicellular fungus which reproduces asexually by an unequal division process called budding. Budding is a type of asexual reproduction in which a daughter individual is formed from a small projection, the bud, arising on the parent body. In yeast, buds arise as small cytoplasmic outgrowth from the parent cell.
so it looks like it has a big old pimple there.
The nucleus of the parent cell divides into 2, and one of the daughter nuclei migrates into the bud. The bud then enlarges and detaches from the parent cell by forming a constriction at the base. The daughter cell matures into a new yeast cell. The daughter cell produced during the budding process is generally smaller than the mother cell. Unlike binary fission, in budding, the parent cell remains intact.
Alrighty. Let's get back to the notes right here. And we also see this happen in an animal called a hydra.
Hydra. Hydra is one of the simplest sedentary multicellular freshwater organism, about 1 centimeter long. It has a tubular body with a basal disc for attachment and a free distal or oral end-bearing mouth and circlet of tentacles. Hydra reproduces asexually by budding. At the time of asexual reproduction, small buds appear on the body wall.
So imagine like
As the bud elongates, a mouth opens at its free anterior end, followed by the development of tentacles at the base of the oral region.
so it looks just like mom there. Imagine if
The newly
we
developed hydra
had babies
detaches
like
from
that.
the parent body and fixes on a substratum.
Well, and you know, when I think about it, it may not be too different from when humans have kids, except, it's happening on the inside. Alrighty, so that is budding. So it kind of just pooches out and the new organism is made. The next type of asexual reproduction we're looking at is called vegetative propagation. And this is, I have some plants in my classroom that they were from my house. I just cut off pieces, put them in water, and now they're growing here in my classroom. Well, they're clones to the plants that I have at home. And farmers use vegetative propagation to grow lots of food that comes to your table, like potatoes, where you can cut them up and plant the pieces and you get a whole new plant that'll have a whole lot of potatoes for you. Strawberries are the same way. A long little piece of the strawberry plant grows out and then it sticks itself to the ground and it makes a whole new strawberry plant there. And let me see if I have one on here. It's showing everybody. Sorry, oh, no, there it goes. Just running slow.
Vegetative propagation. In plants, the units of vegetative propagation such as runner, rhizome, sucker, tuber, offset, and bulb are giving rise to new offspring. These structures are called vegetative propagules. Formation of these structures does not involve two parents. The process involved is asexual. Are you aware how plants like potato, sugarcane, banana, ginger, and dahlia are cultivated? Determine the site of origin of the new plantlets in the plant shown. You will notice that they invariably arise from the nodes present in the modified.
And I'm going to stop it there. If you want to watch the rest, you're welcome to get into the notes and do that. But in general, it's saying all these different type of plants grow by you cutting one piece and then separating that piece out, and you make a whole nother plant. Okay? And let me go back to our notes. So that's vegetative propagation. And then the last one is called spores. So spores are sort of like seeds, but you don't need a male and a female. You know, when the birds and the bees, when the bees come to a flower and they get pollen on them, that they take that pollen, which is male sperm, to another flower, and then that fertilizes, and you get a fertilized organism now. We call it a seed in plants that reproduce sexually. But spores, they don't need, remember, they don't need to go out and find a male or a female. So like ferns is one type of plant, and you can see all those little brown dots that look like if they're little brown dots are actually what are called spores. But there's no male and female involved. It is only the plant that produces them. So if there were 1,000 spores and they all found a nice place to live and were able to, become full adult plants, they would all be clones of each other and to that parent plant that produced them. So you could potentially in a forest have, thousands of plants, and they're all the same plant because they all came from that original plant. So spores, as I said, they're like seeds, but they only come from one parent. All right, and that's the end of the notes that I have here. You just have a discussion question. But when I test you on asexual reproduction, I'm going to ask you about these 5 different types of asexual reproduction, maybe what type of organism undergoes that type of reproduction. And there'll definitely be questions about how many parents and are involved for asexual reproduction. There'll be questions about are they clones? Do they have different genes, etc. All right, guys, I hope y'all have a great weekend. Bye-bye.